Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the MIRE pregame show as we get set for boys basketball against Bordentown, and we are joined once again by the head man in charge, the 1-0 Montgomery Cougars.
1-0. We'll take it, man.
Kris Grundy. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. 25-point win last night. A little slow out of the gates.
Yep.
Not certainly anything that's uncommon there.
Sure.
Maybe just opening game nerves or anything like that. And you know, I had commented on it a couple of times during the game. I said, wow, I really don't even feel like we're playing that well. And you look up and it's a 20-point margin. To me, that signals some really potentially good things down the road.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, like I was telling you yesterday, and some other folks, when people are like, are you nervous? And I was saying, I'm not really nervous. I'm just interested to see how this is all going to play out. Stuff as trivial as, the chairs being separated by 6 feet. And then obviously we've talked about the fathead fans versus real fans. And, for high school kids, even for college kids, I'm sure, it's a feeling out process. So you run out, you're used to running out, you're used to your buddies being there screaming and yelling, and there's none of that. So I think, that first quarter you saw a lot of us growing up and just getting used to what this season is going to be. And Phillipsburg, like I told the guy last night from the Star Ledger, Phillipsburg is a type of team that wants to keep it in the 30s. 30s or the 40s. And that's what they were doing there in the first quarter. They were running their sets, they were running their flex, they were very, very precise with doing it. And then they settle back into their matchup zone. So if you're not going to speed them up, which we weren't doing a good job of in the first quarter and did a much better job in quarters 2 through 4, then it's going to be a grinded-out game. And we've seen so many of them through the years with Phillipsburg. But we were able to start to speed them up a little bit. And, I went back and obviously I watched the film last night and watched the film again today. There are just so many moments from that second quarter especially that just kind of stand out to you. I mean, it was 15-8, in the second quarter, and then JT Szymborski hits 2 big threes there in the second quarter to kind of keep us going. Noah Vlasic had some real, I mean, you look at the stat line, he's got, people obviously always look at points for whatever reason, but just some really, really tough rebounds, tough offensive rebounds, keeping the ball alive. And that got us going. And Chris Rubio was an absolute man-child for 32 minutes last night, or actually pretty much sat the fourth quarter, but so we'll say for 24 minutes. And I told him that's the type of player that we're going to need you to be, regardless of the opponent. And on a night where Ryan Curry, who's, an all-conference point guard, was 1 of 6 from 3, and we still won by 25 points. Yeah. So definitely positives as we head into today's game with Bordentown.
Now maybe it's the former fat kid in me that you glanced over. You're like, oh, well, Matt Prescott, worked on changing his body. Listen, we've been giving COVID tests. Are you handing out steroid tests? My man, you talk about, and now I'm being serious, and this is just a credit to Matt and what he's done. I mean, holy cow, he's a different human being.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and you could see it as we set up some workouts with Sarah Samad in the summer. She's been great for our program. She was able to do some stuff with our guys at Van Horn Park when gyms weren't open, and she kind of got the ball rolling again because of everything that Coach Griff has done with our guys, but then he wasn't able to work with our guys. So fortunately, we were able to find her, and she did a fantastic job. And Matt and Noah, I mean, the two of them just live together, all day, every day. And Sarah's using, Chris Rubio's garage. So, our guys really became committed to the weight room. And the hope is that the younger guys see that, and they see how Matt Prescott can now drive to the basket, get bumped, and he's getting an and one. Whereas last year he would get bumped and he'd go flying out of bounds. So just the physicality aspect that he and Noah and Chris and the rest of them now bring to the table to complement their really good basketball skills, it takes their game to another level.
Something that I had always thought of your teams that you had to overcome or maybe that's not the right word, or fight through, because it's so hard to maintain consistency. Mm-hmm. And because your program always starts out so hot, I'm always thinking every year, like, wow, they're seemingly ahead of everybody.
Yep.
Now, how do you stay there as everybody catches up and then take those next couple of steps?
Sure.
You know, do I think that you guys are similarly organized? Yeah, sure, I do. To me, now this is more of an untrained eye maybe, there were more obvious spots for growth in last night's game. I think I said maybe 3 or 4 times, I bet that's a steal come middle of the season. You know, like there was like the 2 plays that come to mind. There was a play coming out of the trap where Gordy just didn't quite get there. He just didn't go fast enough.
Yep.
Prescott ends up picking up a foul at midcourt because I thought it was like that split second of indecision,
hesitancy.
And you look at that and you go like, oh man, you just threw up 65. Your best ball handler is 1 for whatever from beyond a 3-point line. And the thing that is the most difficult for other teams to match up with is maybe only halfway, 60% of the way to where it's probably going to be. That's got to be exciting, maybe in a way this year that it hasn't been in.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, you're looking at a program that usually plays between 50 and 60 games in the summer. I mean, you use the word games loosely because I mean you know what summer is, but and then we usually play. We usually play Ewing, it's just us versus Ewing, and then we have a game scrimmage against whoever. But all the other scrimmages are quad scrimmages, so you get to play 3 different teams. So I'm telling you this because what you saw last night, you're exactly right. It's a work in progress. Whereas usually, when the season starts, we're already in what would be mid-season form for a lot of teams. Now, we're not even there yet. So yeah, I mean, I'm very hopeful that we're only going to get better. I thought our transition game looked good for quarters 2 through 4. It wasn't where we needed it to be in quarter 1, and that's why the game was as close as it was, 12-8. And that's going to get better. It's just like anything. Keith, you and I talk about this a lot. High school athletes, they need to see it. Like, it's one thing for Coach Grundy to say all the time, hey, we have the talent to run, and we're going to score a lot of points in transition. But until they experience it, are they really going to wholeheartedly buy in? So they saw it last night. Oh, my God, if we play fast and we speed teams up and we can get out in transition, Ryan's going to find us. I mean, a couple of the unbelievable passes that Chris Rubio had where he got a defensive rebound, turned around and pitched it ahead to Curry. So now they see it, and now they understand, like, oh, okay, this is what he means when he says push and play with tempo and speed teams up and make teams play fast. So now that they see it, hopefully that's going to be a big part of what we do throughout the course of the season.
I was thinking a lot about what you had said about not having film on Bordentown, and something had kind of occurred to me that you would never choose to go into a game not knowing what's going on. Now, as it relates to the overall importance of this game versus the big season, it's as close to meaningless, as you could possibly get in any game.
Sure.
1 to the overall. I was then thinking, wow, there's value here because when you get into some of those other games at the end of the season against very good teams with very good coaches who also have scouts on you, the likelihood that you see something that maybe you haven't seen on film from them previously is probably high because that's what good coaches do, right?
Sure.
So now, in those big moments, how do we react to an unscripted moment and something we've never seen?
Yep.
So as coaches and as players, this might be a 32-minute dress rehearsal for how do we react to uncertainty or something we haven't seen.
Sure.
Valid theory, or am I just a moron and overthinking?
No. It's if there's one thing that can surmise this season so far, it's uncertainty. So you don't know you actually literally don't know who your next opponent is going to be. Good friend Justin Salton is gearing up to play North Hunterdon yesterday, and Kyle, good, equally good friend Kyle, calls down to Justin and says, JV coach just tested positive, we're not coming. So that was like 2 hours before the game was supposed to start, 3 hours before the game was supposed to start. So like there is no certainty this year. So you're absolutely right though in regards to stuff is going to happen that isn't scripted, and it's not going to go by the scouting report. And we try to prepare our guys for that each and every year, especially with the defense that we run. We always say, hey, listen, fellas, there's going to be gray areas. There's going to be gray areas. There's going to be a time where a kid, fakes a strong side cut and goes to the weak side or vice versa. And you're going to have to adapt. You can't just, oh, coach, I got a question. You just got to go. So yeah, I mean today is I don't particularly care for it, not having the scout.
You don't say.
But it's going to be good for our guys. It's definitely going to be good for our guys.
I want to be respectful of your time. I know we all got crazy things to do today. An underrated piece of what I'd felt last night, and I just wanted your take on this to end this on a real positive note.
Sure.
All the basketball aside, like I had fun last night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was just being in here and doing this was like, sometimes you get into that slog of the middle of the season some years, and I remember being like, oh, we got to go back to school tonight.
Right.
We got to do that. Like I was like, let's get back to school. Let's go. Like it was, so I underrated my own level of fun. What was it like for you guys up there?
You hit it. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it was fun. It was normal. It was normal, like to come in here and to be flanked by, two of my best friends with Coach Bassford and Coach Molars, and to see the joy in our kids' faces, when Ryan Curry gets an and one in the first half and in the second half, and he's screaming and he's pumped up, or, Matt Prescott and Noah Vlasic, giving each other a chest bump after, laying out for a loose ball. Like it was just normal. It was just normal. And then, to get the numbers that I got from you and Matt this morning of nearly 1,700 people, took time out of their schedule to watch what we did last night. It means a lot. It means a lot. And hopefully it brings, I'm not going to make this out to be something bigger than it is, and it's high school basketball in Central New Jersey, but to give people some normalcy of, hey, this is the Cougar Den. There's family on the court. This means something to us. It means something to our kids. It means something to our nieces or our nephews or our sons or whatever it is, brothers. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Well, in all the uncertainty as you head off to relative South Jersey tonight, good luck, and hopefully we'll be doing this a bunch more.
And I will be vaccinated come Bordentown. So there we go.
You're halfway home. You'll be halfway home.
Halfway home, true.
We'll see what we can do. But good luck with that as well.
Thanks,
Enjoy
brother.
that. That's the head coach of Montgomery, Kris Grundy, as we get set for tip-off against Bordentown. Coming up right after this, your 1-0 Cougs on tap. You're caught in the mire. It's the Montgomery Internet Radio Experience.